Um, as the title of the symposium says, it is stellar spectacles, so a focus on different observatories, telescopes, and instruments we use to kind of gaze into the cosmos and learn more about it. So before moving on, my name is Stephanie Grondin. I will be your host and moderator for the next 3 days, I guess, of talks and events and workshops. Just so you're aware, I am actually an observational astronomer. I'm in my second year of my PhD here at the Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics at the University of Toronto. So I'm very excited and honored to be here to talk more about observational astronomy with you all. So before diving in, we would first like to acknowledge the land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, this land has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home to many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are very grateful to have the opportunity to work on this land. Again, we have a couple brief announcements here. We are very grateful to the generous sponsors that made this event happen. A really brief description of some of these sponsors. We have TD Insurance, who is the leading direct response insurance group in Canada, offering quality insurance products for over 65 years. The TD Insurance Malash Monix program is dedicated to helping U of T alumni get access to preferred rates on home, condo, renters, and car insurance coverage. This is open to U of T alumni, students, faculty, and staff. Another one of our sponsors was MBNA. So each time you make an eligible purchase with the University of Toronto MBNA Rewards credit card, MBNA will contribute a portion of the funds to U of T to support alumni and student initiatives. If you use this, you'll also receive reward points, which you can redeem for travel, gift cards, cashback, and more. This is again open to U of T alumni, faculty, and staff. A couple other key partners of this here are both the David A. Dunlap Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics at the University of Toronto and the Dunlap Institute for Astronomy and Astrophysics at the University of Toronto. So briefly, a bit about these organizations. The David A. Dunlap Department of Astronomy and Astrophysics is the forefront of both theoretical and experimental research in the field. It also offers a wide range of courses for both undergraduate and graduate students. Very similarly, the Dunlap Institute is an endowed research institute with over 50 faculty, postdocs, students, and staff, whom are all very dedicated to innovative technology, groundbreaking research, world-class training, and public engagement. One final sponsor we have here is the Song of Uranus. This is a podcast about the history of astronomy from antiquity to the present. What's cool about this is new episodes are actually released every full moon, so that's kind of fun. And the goal of this podcast is really to deeply understand the development of the oldest of the sciences, which is astronomy. This podcast examines not only the ideas that succeeded, but also those that failed. And its host is Joe Antonini, who also has a PhD in astronomy and currently works at a startup called Whisper, which is using machine learning to make a better hearing aid. So that's great. Great, so now we can get into the schedule or break down the events and workshops that you'll see for the next 3 days here. All of these events, of course, will be online at this Zoom link. So starting off today, Thursday, February 10th, we are all at the opening ceremony right now, but at 6:30, right after this, we will have a talk from Dr. Gael Chauvin about imaging new worlds with extremely large telescopes, so that will be super fun. Following this at 8 p.m., we have Dr. David Wrightsey, who is the director of the LIGO Institute. He will also be telling us about gravitational waves and what they reveal about the universe and how we detect them. So those should be great. You should definitely stick around tonight and listen to those. Continuing on tomorrow, Friday, February 11th, two cool things here. We're kicking off the night with an astronomy ethics panel. And this panel contains a very diverse cast of speakers, including Dr. Jessica Dempsey, Dr. Robert McLaren, Dr. Hilda Nielsen, and Dr. Shandon Peet. Again, afterwards, we're going to have a very cool talk here by ASX's own Canerita Benavides on research in astrophotography. So that should be super cool to listen to as well. And of course, sky conditions permitting, we'll try to do an observation here at 9 p.m. and guide you through that. So that will be great. And on the final day here on Saturday, February 12th, we're going to have another talk at 11 a.m. So just note the difference here in times. We're going to be starting a little bit earlier that day by Dr. Aprajita Verma. This is entitled The Rise of a Giant. So again, we're learning about these really extremely large telescopes. So that will be really cool. And finally, Dr. Christine Kraus will close off the talks at 1 p.m. here, and we'll all get to learn about neutrino detection, which should also be very interesting. Finally, the closing ceremony will be held shortly after that, where I believe we will talk about just how the event went. And I believe ASX can correct me if I'm wrong, but there might be a raffle or some sorts. So that could be fun to stick around for as well. And just a word of note here before kicking off the event. The same Zoom link is going to be used for every event in this symposium. You definitely don't have to come to everything, but everything seems very interesting. So you should try if you're interested. But again, it's a lot of Zoom, so feel free to hop on and hop off in between events, or just hang around and ask the speakers questions if they can chat, or try to chat with other attendees if possible. Great. Another thing is we're also using a special function of Zoom called the Zoom webinar, which many of you may or may not be familiar with. If you have questions for the speaker, what this simply means is that instead of typing them in the chat, we're wanting you to put it into the Q&A function, which if you look at the Zoom bar at the bottom of your screen, there is a special tab that kind of looks like speech bubbles, and that is the Q&A. So if you're having any trouble popping questions into the Q&A, just let us know and we'll be happy to help you out there. But it should just be a lot easier for our speakers and for us to moderate, of course. Awesome. And really quickly here, just to close it off, is a bit about the ASX. So the Astronomy and Space Exploration Society. If you would like to contact them about anything, you can email them here at spacesociety.utoronto.ca. Of course, ASX is actually very active on social media too. So if you have Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, definitely be sure to check them out there. And of course, just remembering why we're doing this. The Astronomy and Space Exploration Society basically runs public events with U of T astronomers to educate, excite, and inspire you to discover more about our universe. And if you're interested in events such as, this symposium and further talks, I really highly recommend that you check out the ASX social media because they post everything on there and it's usually pretty fun. So that is kind of it for now. So like I mentioned before, our first talk will start at 6:30. So please be sure to show up on time for that one. We'll get going then, but until then, maybe go for a stretch, go for a walk, make a tea or something, and we will see you all in about, I believe, 15 minutes. Yeah, exactly 15 minutes. Okay, so great. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in a bit.